So the most important coach on Coach Prime's staff got filled a few weeks back, but quietly. Let's talk about this and why it's the most important position on this coaching staff. Coming up here in about 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And in this video, we're going to talk about Coach Prime's strength and conditioning coaching staff and why this is the most important position that nobody is really talking about. So let's dive right in, shall we? A few weeks back, when I did the coaching staff announcements for the University of Colorado, I was looking through Coach Prime's staff to see this one position that I felt like was key and critical for their success long term. And there was really no announcement. Now, there was an article back in December when the staff was announced that had a very small blurb about who was taking the job of strength and conditioning coach or leading all of the strength and performance. And the name in there was Maurice Sims, aka Coach Sims from Jackson State. And so he did follow Coach Prime on there, but there wasn't a really big announcement or real big details around it. Now, Colorado has dropped some promo videos on the strength team and kind of, little bit of videos here and there on the social media spot, but there really wasn't a big announcement. And I'm trying to understand why. I'm truly curious about this because this is hands down the most important position for the success of the Colorado Buffaloes going forward. And this man is in the center of it. And I'm curious to why they never really announced it. So let's talk about Coach Sims. We're going to dive into him as well as the additional staff members that he has and talk about just how critical they are to the operation and success going forward for Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs. So let's dive into it first and foremost. We've got the Director of Football Sports Performance, Coach Maurice Sims, aka Coach Mo Sims. And now, the big thing to understand about Coach Sims is that he's got some experience in the SEC. He is very much young, which is really good, while at the same time having experience with some pretty large programs. He's a graduate of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Bethune-Cookman, where he got his master's degree, and he has SEC ties. So he started off as an intern at the University of Tennessee. He worked at the University of Georgia before leaving Georgia and following Coach Prime over to Jackson State over the last couple of years. And he's done very well there, helping Coach Prime build some strong players there in the SWAC, as well as preparing them truly for going to the Division I ranks. Now, you may say whatever you want to, but this young man's got some experience in the SEC and knows how those strength and conditioning programs should run. I think that he's going to do very fine and do some well things for Colorado. And I'm going to tell you why it's important having someone in this position and who's in this position on the other side after I talk about him and the rest of his staff. And so Coach Mo also has some experience at Army West Point. He spent time at Indiana, University of North Carolina before he went to Georgia, and he also was at North Carolina A&T. And so this is the man that will be leading the strength program there at Colorado, and he's critical for them. So let's talk about the other assistants that we have that I had to do some digging to find because it's fascinating that they weren't in the forefront. Next on this list, we have Brandon Reyes. He's an assistant strength and conditioning coach for Colorado. He's a graduate of University of West Florida. He spent some time in the high school ranks in the state of Florida before moving back into West Florida and then to Army West Point. So he has some experience, and it seems like in similar locations as Coach Sims. Next up, we got Teso Uha, who is a graduate from Furman University, where he played running back, and he was a pretty solid running back looking at his numbers. He worked at Georgia as well, spent some time at Texas Tech as well as Tennessee State, and then he just left the University of Georgia after this national title to join Coach Sims at Colorado. So they have a relationship, and so he's bringing in more SEC-minded coaches who's done some big things in strength rooms. That's a huge deal to note. Next up, we have Rendrick Taylor. He is an assistant strength and conditioning coach as well. He's a graduate from Clemson where he played wide receiver. Now, if you've never seen Coach Taylor before, this is him. He's probably one of the largest and most terrifying wide receivers I think I've seen outside of DK Metcalf. And this is him in college. Yeah, imagine him as your strength coach. He's so big that he played fullback in the NFL as well as in the Arena League. Yeah, that's how big of a wide receiver Clemson had back in the day. And so he spent some time at North Carolina State, Middle Tennessee State, as well as at HBCU Clark Atlanta, where he just came from to take the job at Colorado on this staff. And then we have Stephen Houston, who's the last assistant strength and conditioning coach. He's a graduate from University of Indiana, where he played running back, just like Teso Uha. They both played running back in college. He spent some time at New Mexico, Charleston Southern, as well as Purdue. And so he joins the staff as one of the 4 assistants to Coach Sims on here. And now, this is the reason why having this position set is important. If Coach Sean Lewis plans on running this high-octane offense at this high altitude, your strength and conditioning coaching staff is critical. They're critical infrastructure because they're the ones that's got to get these players prepared to play fast-paced at high altitude with little oxygen. Coach Sims having SEC experience and bringing in assistants that also have SEC experience and, ACC. Think about it with Rendrick Taylor being at Clemson and playing in the NFL. That's critical. And then having Army coaches, former Army coaches, which they work hard there, shows to me that he built himself a staff that's ready for the challenge of building these Colorado players into just machines. So that is the coaching staff for the strength side for Coach Prime. I'm still shocked that it wasn't announced, that it's really underneath. It was under the radar. But, hey, I've been keeping my eyes out open. I guess my third eye wasn't open wide enough to see that he got announced. So, jump in the comments. Let your boy know. What do you think about this strength and conditioning staff? Do you think they can get these Colorado players ready for the high altitude? If you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification. Dropped at the end. You're already here. You may as well hit the buttons, right? So, thanks for tuning in. We'll have some more videos on the Colorado players. We're going to talk about some of the 23 recruits that came in and some of the crazy stuff they did. And lastly, prepare for the spring game out there in Colorado. So, YouTube believes you need to watch these videos, so check them out next. Peace.